All right, welcome. Episode 20 of the Harsh Reality Presents our interview series with the one and only guest I got here. We got Scotty Reid. But before I introduce you, brother, I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that we're part of the KWAZ radio family. So make sure y'all go to the page and subscribe to all of the platforms over at KWAZ. But beyond that, my guest today is the mastermind behind Black Talk News Radio. He's a social commentator. He's an author. He's a modern day abolitionist. So we're going to roll out the red, black, and green carpet for you, brother, the one and only Mr. Scotty Reid. Scotty, what's going on with you, brother?
Hey, I appreciate that intro, man. And like my late uncle used to say, I'm still walking on top of it. And so that means I'm still alive. And there's a whole lot of people who ain't. So I guess I'll call myself blessed in that regard.
Definitely. Any day above ground is a good one, brother. But for people maybe not aware of you in the platform, if you listen to this, you should be aware because we definitely was part of the platform. Might talk to you again about getting back on there now that we back up and running. But if you want to give people any kind of background info about you, what made you start up Black Talk News Radio, getting the podcasting in general, or the media, this cesspool known as the media.
Well, Black Talk Radio News is actually my personal social political news podcast, but it's part of a larger network that I founded called Black Talk Radio Network. But before I founded Black Talk Radio Network, I founded a nonprofit called Black Talk Media Project here in the state of North Carolina. Just trying to dot all the I's and cross the T's on the legal side. You know what I'm saying? Right. As much as they try to regulate us and our money. But anyway, so that was back I actually started my first podcast or live internet radio show was on Blog Talk Radio, which just shut down in January of this year. The platform's gone, man. And so they try to roll everybody over to their sister network. But that's where I started in 2007. They had been on about a year. And so while I was on there, I came up with the concept of Black Talk Radio because it was a lot of Black people. We were overrepresented on that platform, right? And so I was noticing like some Black shows will try to have beef with other Black shows and that kind of foolishness going on, like they're in some kind of competition and you're going to win a prize other than Blog Talk Radio, giving you some recognition. How much is that really worth? You know? So I was like, we should be working together and promoting each other. And that's how I came up with the concept of Black Talk Radio Network. And that actually started on Blog Talk Radio. I just created another account called Black Talk Radio. And then different Black hosts of different podcasts would come on once a week. And of course, do a little show and then plug their own podcast. So that's how I got started. And then we went through some censorship issues. This one popular show on there was called The Context of White Supremacy. But before he got kicked off of there, they just shut him down. But I was noticing censorship. I'm getting calls from management, right, of Blog Talk Radio asking me about certain guests I'm having come on. Then when I launched Black Talk Radio Network, the first iteration of it, he questioned me about my red, black, and green colors on the website. I'm like, what's this fool? You know what I'm saying? John Sweet. Gave me a phone call, dog. Wow. Is this normal? No, I don't think it is. So then I just kind of start transitioning to I was trying to do both platforms, putting out the same content on both platforms, but eventually, I transitioned. I had authored this technical manual using my U.S. Army background in communications to figure out how to do internet radio. Blog Talk made it easy for people. They didn't have no mixers, no equipment, none of that. You just call in on the phone. Now, the quality, was crappy, but back then, we were just amazed to be able to do our own shows. Right. You know what I'm saying? But now, technology is so much more affordable. and better. And so, that happened in 2008, November of 2008 is when I really launched Black Talk Radio. And, we've been on the platform's been online ever since. So that's what, 16 years, coming up on 17 years.
It's very dope, man. It's like you said, a lot of platforms start and then they kind of fizzle out. I think out of the billions of podcasts that start, I read most of the average is seven episodes. By the time people hit 7 episodes, they done checked out, because either the thing don't blow up, they're not consistent and stuff like that, man. So salute to you for keeping that thing going for 16 years. That's insane. You feel me? Especially with all the challenges you got to go through, especially with funding, like you said, our people censorship. I'm still getting strikes they give me strikes for 2021, bro. I got strikes last year for episodes I recorded in 2021 for saying
on YouTube. You're talking about the platform YouTube. Yeah, I still get strikes too from some of the old podcasts we used to upload. Some of those shows don't even exist no more, but I get them YouTube strike. Oh, we removed this video cause of blah whatever.
And so it's insane. It's like to even navigate that storm of having to get through and be so codified and everything you talk about and stuff like that, man. Particularly if you got a platform, particularly for our people, for Black folk, they really, really, especially YouTube, some of these other, even Facebook sometimes, to hit me with strikes for certain shit. So it's kind of hard to have your own, but then you still have to deal with these other platforms because you got to get your promotions out there and stuff like that. So how does the promotion work with Black? Do you have any kind of sponsorships, or how do you do your promotion in terms of that with your platform?
Well, no, we don't have any sponsors. We've had some in the past, but in terms of sponsorships, no, but just donations from just everyday listeners, people who use the platform. It's probably less than 100, but every little bit helps. And then if I had to come out my pocket to make up the difference, then I do, because this was a calling for me. This wasn't like no entrepreneur. I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna create this niche and target a certain market and then compete for, the Black radio audience. That was not my mission. My mission was to create a Black safe digital space for Black people who want to get on air and talk about whatever, as long as they were talking within reason, because we still got to be codified, you know what I'm saying? And so, but my mission was, it was like, I seen this video of Malcolm X, right? And I've used that to promote the network or the concept of the network or how important Black media is. And Malcolm X said that media is the most powerful entity on the face of the planet. It can make the guilty look innocent and the innocent look guilty. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses. Then with my military background, stuff I seeing on TV, like I was during the Gulf War, the stuff that my people back home was seeing on TV, hey, that ain't the truth. They ain't only going to tell you so much. And in terms of the reasons why we over there, they definitely not going to tell you, this is so that we can let Shell, Exxon, British Petroleum, control the gas market or what the energy market and what have you. That's why we over there. We're not over there to spread no democracy or no freedom. We are colonizers. And in terms, of the soldiers, we're tools of the colonizers.
Facts, man. I think that's kind of a unique thing. That's kind of, something I'll share with you in terms of that is that the whole, I did 7 years commo too. I was a comm guy too. So we both in that space. That's why I know about the microphones and fucking interfaces and all that shit myself. But, that's one thing I noticed too. Cause I was in Afghanistan, you was in Gulf, I was in Afghanistan. And, before you get out there, the propaganda, particularly if you was around during 9/11, this showed like, oh, this country is attacking us. It's full of people who hate America, blah, blah, blah. And then you get over there and like the majority of them are literate farmers. You know what I mean? Couldn't point America out on the map. And I think that's kind of a start for a lot of people. If you notice, there's a lot of vets in this space because a lot of their awakening started with them seeing things on the ground And that's why media is also important, because if you have trusted media who shows the real truth, that really helps your own awakening. We can't even, it's crazy that we live in an era, a time frame where we really can't trust our own media, in terms of anything. Everything is propagandized to the extreme at this point.
I mean, they actually do work, and this is documented. People can look it up, research it, whatever. But of the intelligence services, whether you're talking about the CIA, FBI, whatever, coordinating stories. I mean, it probably goes, I know it goes back further than the 60s, but the stories that they were writing about the Black Panther Party, the stories they was writing about even Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and demonizing these people, and so it's very powerful, man, and that's how they use it to miseducate and racialize white working class people who aren't wealthy, who getting drafted back into these wars, or volunteering because of the poverty draft to escape debt, to go to college and stuff like that. And so, that's going back again to why it is so important. See, I'm in therapy now. I just got into therapy because of stuff that happened in the military. It's not PTSD, which is where, people have fear or stuff. They don't want to be, well, I don't like being around crowds or anything like that, but loud noises don't bother me, or none. I'm not shell shocked or anything, but I have moral injury. I had a top secret security clearance during the Gulf War, and I worked in the S3. So I was getting access to information that showed the high casualty rate and the intentionality of the infliction of casualties on civilians. And I was like, wow, this is straight up wrong. You know what I'm saying? And even though back then, that was back in 90, yeah, I think it was 90. But anyway, back then, I wasn't up on the propaganda game. I wasn't up on how the media, promote these stories and all tell the same stories, promoting patriotism, and Malcolm X talked about patriotism. He's like, you're not supposed to be so blind with it that you ignore the truth. You know what I'm saying? Wrong is wrong, no matter who do it. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like even today, man, and even now, if you fast forward that to now, speaking on your point about the propaganda that we see, I still see people pushing like the Hoover papers, like still MLK Day just passed not too long ago. People still, our people, black folks, pushing like, oh, he was cheating on his wife and having, gay orgies and stuff. I'm like, bro, like, we in 2025, bro, and then people are still pushing. That's how strong it is, though. I tell people right now that word Edward Bernays, bro, y'all need to study how these people push that type of stuff, and you need to be able to think and research on your own. That shouldn't be something that's shunned.
The way I combat that, in terms of whether MLK was bisexual or not, I don't know. I did hear that there was some takes or something that he had some side chicks while he was out there on the road. So this is how I think that we should never idolize people and not recognize that they're human beings, and that all human beings have flaws and they fall short of perfect, behavior. I think only Malcolm X was described as a holy man. Some of the people that worked around him said that man was really holy, meaning he didn't do any kind of quote unquote sinning. But if MLK had a couple of side chicks out there while he was on the road, you know what I'm saying? That do not diminish what he did in terms of the work that he did. All of us ain't perfect.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was just a good segue to kind of modern day, right? Our modern day, how we see things, at least the news cycle that we seeing now. You spoke on the patriotism thing. We just recently had these presidential elections. We can see a lot of changes, a lot of things going on. You being in the news media yourself, what do you think of things that's going on so far since we had this new administration come in? Is there anything, I see a mixed bag of things, but what are your thoughts so far?
Well, in terms of the media, one thing that I'm happy about is that a lot of people are tuning out of corporate media. Fox News still got a grip on they audience, you know, in these communities like I live in. But MSNBC, the so-called left or the opposition, yeah, they're shedding viewers. All of these so-called legacy corporate news outlets, people just tuning them up. And I think Trump kind of played a role in it. I'm not going to give him a lot of credit, but when he came out talking about fake news, I mean, it was true. Even if what he was calling fake news was real news and was the truth, he still got people looking at the media with the side eye and perhaps doing their own research. So they tune it out and really podcasting the stuff you're doing, the stuff I'm doing. It's really on the rise in terms of where people get their trusted news, sources from. And that's why I think it's a great responsibility, as I know another Black person in this space, and he's promoting stuff that I would consider right-wing propaganda and not holding himself to high journalistic ethics and fact-checking shit before he put it out. He just running headlines from what, say, the Daily Caller or this to attack certain people on the right. And to me, it ain't about the left or the right, man. That's high school stuff. That's that pep rally. No, man. No, we ought to be more mature as adults to get past our high school feelings of partisanship. I'm team blue or I'm team red. This is not a game. This is real life. And so, I just hope the trend continues and that it leads to a more informed and enlightened, broader society.
Yeah. I think the tribalism is the antithesis to critical thought. You feel me? You choosing a team, whether it be CNN, whether it be Fox News, is basically just extremes of the same thing. You picking whatever team you think is the best, but they're both at the end of the day pushing propaganda. And it's true. You are seeing a decrease, like CNN ratings. I think Joe Rogan is blowing them out the water. Doesn't matter how you feel about Joe Rogan, he's smashing CNN and Fox. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're seeing that shift, and that's why it's important though. But at the same time, I think, like you said earlier, it's important that we don't become a different version of that, where we're choosing the side and pushing because that's the easiest way.
Just being an echo chamber. We're not even coming up with original thoughts. We just repeating, like how you see all these right wingers now. Oh, woke. And I blame the Democrats for that, because you, instead of giving Black people policies of substance, you tried to adopt parts of the culture like these slang words and wearing kente cloths and doing all of this stuff, man. It's just crazy. And woke just simply means enlightened. It means I'm aware, I'm aware that I live in the segregated South. So I need to be awake, because that's where the term originated, was back. I don't want to go to the 1800s, but it was during Jim Crow era that it was I think the singer name was Lead Belly or something like that, who coined that word woke. And he was just like take, for example, the historical Green Book, right? What did it do? Tell you to safe gas stations, safe lodging, hotels, and stuff. Because we were segregated and what have you. So that's being woke. That's being aware. So the Green Book was very woke, but now the Republicans and conservatives have turned it into a pejorative term, totally appropriated, some Black American culture. And now you had asked me what I think about Trump. Yeah, it's a mixed bag. Trump is a very chaotic person. I think he is very chaotic. That, what's the old term? He might go where the wind blows. Or whoever was the last person in his ear that sounded good to him. Okay, now some of the executive orders, listen. This is what I told somebody about Trump. I didn't like Harris or Trump. And I was like, Trump, though, is going to destroy the evil empire from within. And I'm banking on that. For those that don't know, America is an empire. They have always tried to model themselves after the Roman Empire. Look at the architecture in Washington, D.C., these columns and all of this stuff, obelisk and what have you. So they've always tried to model themselves, and that's why they always pushing militarism, a strong military, and propagandize, having people thanking me for my service. And I could have been in Abu Ghraib somewhere torturing somebody, sticking something up their ass, and you thanking me for that? Really? You know what I'm saying? So just the propaganda, just to get young people to buy into becoming, a tool of white supremacy, as I say. But Trump is very chaotic. I like some of the executive orders that he's issued. The funding freeze for all foreign aid, man, we should have been done. Somebody should have been done that. But of course, because he's a Zionist, a puppet of a Zionist, I'm not quite sure if he's a Zionist or not. Joe Biden said straight up he was a Zionist, but Trump got a lot of money from Zionists, right? Exactly. And so he cut all the money off to all the other countries, billions and billions and billions of dollars that we could use right here at home, except for Israel. All right. So it's been a mixed bag. He did force Israel into a ceasefire from a position of power that Joe Biden didn't, because Joe Biden was a Zionist and his cabinet was full of Zionists, and they was with Israel doing what they did. All right. And then one of the things I wrote about, because I'm here in North Carolina, was the Lumbee tribe recognition. Now he issued an executive order that's going to go to the Department of the Interior, but such an executive order will carry some weight with that department. And they've been fighting to get recognition for a very long time, and I hope they get it. I wrote about them in the battle they had with the Klan and sent the Klan packing and running and what have you. About 500 of them surrounded the Klan, called themselves going to have a rally and burn a cross in a cow pasture in this little town in North Carolina. And the Lumbees, that was part of their community. And about it was only like 30 of the white supremacists, and then 500 Lumbee Indians, men and women, surrounded them armed to the teeth and started firing in the air. And they scattered like the cowards that they were. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good thing, you know what I'm saying? But it's also some bad stuff. Some people can die when you cut off Medicaid, when you cut off Medicare. You know what I'm saying? That we have a for-profit healthcare system, and people are not going to get the healthcare that they need, even in emergency situations, if they don't have insurance or the straight up cash to pay for whatever. All right. So that's very dangerous. People can lose their lives behind that, the children. And then I'm like, I live in a county that's 80% white, and the majority on the SNAP benefits, the so-called welfare or whatnot, the WIC, for women, infant, and children, making sure children get to eat. That's gonna hurt a lot of children, man. So it's good and it's some bad to it, but I just hope that he's successful in his unintended mission of destroying the U.S. empire, and because we got it coming as a nation, and I know that my family gonna have to suffer through it and what have you. But we're living in a changing world. The BRICS nation is taking over. They give them 5 to 10 years. They'll totally be off the SWIFT system. They won't need the U.S. dollar. That's going to cause, they're already talking about the tariffs that Trump put out there is going to cause inflation on us. Things going to get bad, y'all. But I believe in being prepared, self-sustaining for emergency situations. I'm glad I live in a country where I can take my 22 out there and put me off a squirrel if I have.
I was about to say, get you a squirrel out there.
I don't eat. It creeks and fishing, little rivers and stuff. So but I think that we come out with something better on the other side. Who knows? I wouldn't care If the United States, like Dave used to say on Tando radio show, which used to be on the Black Talk Radio Network, he not on air no more, but he called it the untied states of America, meaning all these states become their own country. If North Carolina was become its own nation, I ain't got a freaking problem with it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. We'll still be able to travel to these other nations like they do in Europe. You know what I'm saying? We'll get one of those easy passes or whatever, right? But I think less central government, the way the United States has run it, it's just evil, man. And if it broke apart realistically, man, I think it'd be the best thing for the people. And people would panic. And, oh, what would we do? You still got a governor. You still got a lieutenant governor. You still got a state house and a state senate. You still got a state judiciary. Why do we need to be a part of a system like that? I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah. Decentralization, bro. I've always been an advocate of decentralization. And sometimes you got to destroy to rebuild, bro. Sometimes, and that's gonna be hard for a lot of people, but you can't keep doing the same thing, expect a different result, right? What's that? Insanity, right? If you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, that's insane. So, if this is the guy to do it, I don't know, but if some shit, a lot of people are nervous. A lot of people that I know are pieces of shit are very nervous. So, if you got to go through this chaos in order for something to change, then it is what it is, as far as I'm concerned. But I think it's also insane to force like somebody who lives in Alabama to, have to acquiesce to the same government from somebody from Washington, right? With this all-encompassing, very powerful federal system. Right. So I agree with you that the state should have more power because you may have different values. You may have a different the dollar's even different from here to Washington, So you always hear people complain about, the federal minimum wage. And it's like, but bro, Alabama ain't the same as Washington, brother. You know what I'm saying? So I think a less decentralized government is a key to keeping things in. And also, as an individual, you have much more voice to reach the governor, to reach your mayor, to reach people in your school board, as opposed to you getting hold of a state senator in Washington, right? It's very unlikely. So I agree with you on that, bro.
And you're not putting money in his pocket. Listen, Washington, D.C., Democrats and Republicans, clearly this genocide in Israel has shown us that they are in the pockets of AIPAC, a foreign government, the American Israeli Political Action Committee that solely exists to get policy passed in the United States that's going to subsidize Israel. We subsidize that whole colony, basically. I heard people call it a U.S. colony, really, and so it's clear that we really don't have a democracy anymore. We have an oligarchy, controlled by billionaires on both sides, and they getting their way. They getting their policies pushed. I mean, look at how Elon Musk is showing out right now. You know what I'm saying? Being made part of the government. You don't think he's going to try to steer some government contracts towards any of his companies and what have you? We know on the right, they've long wanted to privatize the federal government, get rid of, the public stuff and more of a fascism is what, that's what we're facing. We have a fascistic oligarchy. We don't have a democracy. We may go vote or whatever, but at the end of the day, take, for example, 60% of the people, whether Democrat, Republican, or Independent, wanted immediate stop to the flow of weapons to Israel, to enforce the Leahy laws. And what did the U.S. Congress and the Biden administration do? Just straight up break the federal law. So I'm like, these people don't have no credibility, and they're losing it because how can you just sit up there and break the damn law, but then expect us all to be law abiding? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think that may be the legacy that's previously left with this last administration. And then at the end, they just pretty much blatantly showed that it's a difference between how me and you would be treated as opposed to anybody else, handing out all these pardons. People got that in itself is insane to think about, where like Hunter got this. Anything you did from 2014 to 2020 or 2024.
Right. And the rest of his family, too. The rest of his family, his brother, because they all had allegations hanging over them, and it not just smoke, it was some fire there. It was some actual documentation, and it just being swept under the rug or whatever. So that's why, because you don't get a pardon. Usually you don't issue a pardon if you're not guilty of a crime. He know they were guilty of crimes, and he was worried about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, I wish he would have went after those people for their corruptness. Look, I know Donald Trump's a convicted criminal. We can debate about how serious those charges really were, or what have you, or if he was just doing what all the rest of these big multinational corporations do. That's what his defense was. Hey, everybody does it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. But compared to people like, for example, Tulsi Gabbard having her confirmation hearing to become the National Security Director. She was calling out the crime. They were trying to get her to call Eric Snowden a traitor, and she wouldn't. She just simply said he broke the law, but I wish he would have found another way to go through the other channels to get the information out that showed the U.S. government involved in all this illegal activity, right? So, and then the dude was like, his response to that was, so, do you give Russian talking points or Syrian talking points? Or this woman just told you that during the Obama administration and the information being declassified that the U.S. government used terrorists to destabilize Syria. Okay, we know they did that in Libya too, but to destabilize Syria. And then in the past month or so, we just saw a guy take over the head of Syria. Joe Biden thanks these people or congratulates these people. And this guy, who's the leader, is on the U.S. terrorist watch list.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
man.
where we are. That's where we are. In Rome did not last forever. In the United States, which has modeled itself after, it's following the same patterns that led to the collapse of Rome. Greed and corruption and ignoring the masses, what we call the middle class, or more and more of them are even slipping into poverty. So yeah, I think we headed for real, bro.
Yeah, I think you're witnessing a dying empire. Babylon must fall, brother. But on to kind of some lighter talk, man, before we get ready to get up out of here, man. What do you think? You seen the big news the other day, right? The big trade. I don't know. You follow the NBA. You still follow the NBA a little bit, man?
Yeah, I follow the NBA. Wemby didn't draw me back in.
So what do you think about the Luka, the big everybody talking about? I see people don't even talk about sports talking about that.
In the short term, Dallas won that trade in the short term. AD matched up with Kyrie. I don't know who else they really got, but Dallas with Luka was in the championship not that long ago, right? Then they make it to the finals and lost, right? So I think I think Dallas didn't really lose nothing, and it remains to be seen if LA gained anything for the long term. You know what I'm saying? Because they were saying Luka got conditioning issues and what have you, and like he might be another Zion Williamson.
I'd say, yeah.
He can't push back from the table and what have you, and leave that DoorDash alone. Quit calling them people. And so, but yeah, man, I'm a Hornets fan, but our team, man, it ain't been good for a long time. But I really don't have time to watch games no more. I do like everybody else. I just watch the 10-minute, 15-minute highlight of the game on YouTube or something, right? And I think Wemby, we're watching the future GOAT, undisputable GOAT, if he stays healthy and keeps developing. I mean, he's in his sophomore year. Is the kid not even 21 yet, right? And he already dominating, man. They just dropped 140 on the Bucks the other night.
Oh yeah, he gonna be nice. I don't like he takes so many threes, man, because he's, to me, that's.
But he's splashing them though. I could see if they was rimming out or whatnot, but he's shooting something like close to it.
It's only like 33% or something.
It's a little higher since he had, he had a rocky first start of the season. He was kind of off. But here lately, he been shooting about a 40% clip, man, close to it. So that's pretty much a good shooter from three. But I mean, come on, man, his stroke is pure. Who can block it? And he's splashing them, man. He's splashing them. And if he going out there shooting, going like 3 for 10 from the 3-point, he not taking wild shots. Like he ain't taking that many, man.
I just want to see about maybe 5-6 a game, bro. I think you hear him a baby hook, bro, unstoppable. You give him 2 of Mutombo moves, dog, because he just too tall, bro. But yeah, he's definitely the future. I just hate that he's in San Antonio, man, because they never give San Antonio much light, bro, as far as like the coverage. I don't think this Silver dude knows what he's doing in terms of how to properly promote the league, because you have a lot of good young stars and they're not getting any kind of shine like they should. I think a better commissioner would do the NBA. I hate to see the NBA ratings falling, man. I hate to see that.
Here in sports talk radio in Charlotte, they've been talking about how LaMelo Ball led in fan voting and what have you, and then they didn't even give him a reserve spot on the All-Star team. And they was like, the guys I was listening to made sense. They was like, okay, he stay hurt and his team ain't winning, but he is top 5 in scoring or whatever. He is shining on the individual aspect on the court, and he's very popular with children. Very popular for whatever reason with children, and so that's why he led all guards in the fan vote, man. And they left him off. So I kind of agree that's bad marketing on the part of the NBA.
Yeah, I think the new commissioner
All-Star games supposed to be about who the fans want to see, not the coaches in the media.
Well, I mean, that's dying in itself. The All-Star game, they might get rid of that sucker, man. You see the dunk contest, road. Don't you remember? It used to be like the stars of the game. It used to be Jordan, Dominique, all that. They got like 4 people. One of the guys, a G League guy, the McClung dude. You feel me? Like that used to be the shining star of the All-Star game. And you see in this now, they trying to come up with any kind of gimmick. They talking about a tournament, like a 4-on-4, a 5-on-5 tournament.
But see, this again, why I don't watch, TV. If it's a game I want, a player I want to check out, I'll check out the 10-minute highlight clip.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, you probably won't get much time here being. I heard you ranked in Call of Duty, bro. You ranked in the world, Craig. Which is crazy.
Man. I'm in the top 90 percentile.
That's crazy, man. I haven't really been on that since Black Ops, man. But that's good too. That balance, that's always something I preach when we talk about mental health a little bit earlier. Is that you got to have that balance in this crazy world, man. You got to have them outlets, whether it be sports, that's why people always kind of rag on people, call it a waste of time and stuff like that. But I'm like, if you got something you can get out of this matrix, unplug for a few minutes and kind of turn off, that's a good balance to me, man. That's that Mayat shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to me, it's a perfect training tool, man. I remember back in 87, they had this trailer. I was still in basic training. Like they was testing like some virtual scenario. You go in the trailer and what have you, like first person shooter. A lot of that stuff hit the military first before it come out here, right? And so I look at Call of Duty, that's me training, man. I'm still using the same tactics, whatever, and so just when these people, let's say a group of friends get together and they play on the same team and they look, that's real life. That's training for real life, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you can communicate, tell them, hit the flank, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So hint. A lot of y'all that don't have battlefield experience or combat experience, maybe y'all community should be getting into those kind of games and what have you, and getting a little virtual training.
Yeah, definitely get out there and then, like I said, transition into the real life, man. I know one of my brothers, he does a firearm training for the concealed carry down here in Florida, gift, gridiron firearm training. So make sure y'all look it up. But yeah, that's something. Be prepared, man. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you could transition all that, even the hand-eye coordination shit to help you out. But That's all I got, man. So before we get up out of here, brother, first and foremost, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. Like I said, I'm
I
probably gonna touch
appreciate
base.
the invite.
Yeah, always, man. And I touch base with you, maybe try to get back on the platform now that I'm back up and running. I took a little hiatus to get my other platform up, the hip hop thing. I know you're not a big fan of it, but I'm trying to post a positive light in hip hop. So we had to get that running. So make sure y'all check out Hip Hop High Society. But this last minute, bro, I want to give it to you so you can plug whatever, whether it be Black Talk Radio Network or anything else you got going on. Or would you let the people know what you're working on?
Well, I just think it's very important to support independent media wherever you can find it. And I consume I'm subscribed to a whole lot of podcasts. I don't donate to them all, but I'll drop 5 or 10 here. I like breaking points. It's not a black show, but these are real journalists on breaking points. Right. And they break a lot of news. They got White House access for the press corps and all of that. These are real journalists who left the corporate media because of the restrictions and the censorship and the narratives, the false narratives. And these people was like, no, we go start our own stuff. Look at Joe Rogan over there. Hey, we're professionals. Let's get together and start our own company and do the news. So that's my number one political, or I would say geopolitical news show. Then I follow a whole bunch of others. But what I'm saying is, when you have individuals putting in the time to do the research, to then put together the presentation, to bring you some information that could save your life, or could help you plan for the future, or help you understand some of the things that happened in the past and why they went down that way, then especially if you don't see a lot of corporate advertisement, Walmart ain't sponsoring this show right here. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Amazon not sponsoring this show. All right. So that means that it's on you, the individual viewer, to support these independent media platforms that are providing you some value, or you wouldn't be going to them. So in terms of Black Talk Radio Network, which is managed by our nonprofit Black Talk Media Project, we appreciate every donation, small or large. You gotta support something. You gotta be the change that you want to see, and then when you see the change, you gotta support the change.
Definitely. And we will definitely drop the links to the channel. Like I said, go donate, man. Support media. Just listen. You know what I mean? Share the episodes, everything you got to do to make sure that we boost these voices, particularly if they're giving you something of value and of substance. Stop supporting these fucking shade rooms of the world. Although I'm not shitting on them, but, get you some substance in what you view. But that's all I got, bro. So I appreciate you coming through, man. So on behalf of everybody here, bro, I got to say peace to you, man.
All right.
All right, brother.